There are 4 types of classification of data, and based on any 4 types, we can classify the data. Whatever the data we are collecting, so whether if it is for our own use or for the use of somebody else, we have to present it in a table. How do you express the information you have collected in the form of a table? So that depends on the creativeness of the collector or the statistician. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to you all to this session. I'm Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. I welcome you all to this Unit 1, Session 3. In this Session 3, let us see what this holds for us. Now, in this Session 3, we will be having a discussion on classification and tabulation. Now, we all know that statistics relates to aggregate of facts, or we have a collection of facts, and based on the collection of facts, we have to draw an inference. Now, when you collect the facts, you have to classify the facts and tabulate them. So, what is the process of classification and what is the process of tabulation? That we will be discussing in this session. Now, the meaning of the word classification. Classification is the process of arranging the available facts into homogeneous groups or classes according to resemblances and similarities. Now, classification means you are collecting the data. So, when you are collecting the data, you try to segregate all those data which are similar or which have resemblance or which are homogeneous. So, similar types of data are grouped into various groups. That is what we mean by classification. So, classification is the process of arranging things either actually or notionally in groups or classes according to their resemblances and affinities, and giving expression to the unity of attributes that may subsist among a diversity of individuals. So, among the individuals, so whatever the data we collect, so we may collect diverse data. So, all these diverse data has to be segregated into various groups based on the similarities. So, this segregation of data into various groups is called as classification. Now, the classification of data primarily depends on the purpose and objectives of the inquiry. There are 4 important types of classification. So, how do you classify the data? So, it all depends on what are the objectives of the inquiry. Now, this classification of data is divided into 4 groups. They are, first one is the geographical, that is area-wise, region-wise or district-wise. Suppose you are collecting the demographical, suppose you are having the census study of a particular area. So, if it is in Karnataka, then what is the demography of each particular district? So, in this way, we can collect the area-wise census study. So, if it is in Karnataka, then what is the demography or the census of the people residing in the Mysuru district, Bangalore North, Bangalore South, so Bellary. So, in this way, we collect the data and segregate them on the basis of the area. So, this is one kind of a segregation. Then, second one is chronological or historical, that is on the basis of time. Now, the second classification is on the basis of time. So, you segregate data based on the year of the happening of that event, that is on a historical basis. So, we all know in the history, so right from 1 AD up to this 20th century, so everything has been written in history. So, just they have all mentioned it in a chronological order. The same way, whatever the data you are collecting, if you are having in a chronological area on the basis of time, so that can be one kind of a classification. Then third one is qualitative by character or by attributes. So the third classification is you segregate it on the basis of quality. So what is how good a person is, how honest a person is, so how beautiful a person is. So based on one attribute, you just segregate them. Then next one is quantitative or numerical or by magnitude. So on the basis of numerology, you just segregate the data. So in this way, there are 4 types of classification of data, and based on any 4 types, we can classify the data. In this, the first one is the geographical classification. So in the geographical or spatial classification, the basis of classification is the geographical or the locational differences between various items in the statistical data like states, districts, taluks, region, zone and area. You can see here we have the India map here and we have the various states here. So we can classify the data on the basis of the states or the districts or the cities or the taluks or the regions, zones, areas, etc. Then next one is chronological classification. So in this type, statistical data is classified according to its occurrence, such as the years, months, weeks, days, hours, etc. So for example, they are expressed in decades. National income is expressed every year. Departments are expressed every month or week. So time series are also called as chronological classification. So this type of statistical data is classified according to its occurrence. Then next one is qualitative classification. So when the data is classified according to some quality or attributes such as the sex, honesty, intelligence, literacy, blindness, color, deafness, religion, marital status, etc. So you classify the data based on a certain attribute. So that we call it as the qualitative classification. It is termed as qualitative or descriptive attributes. Then next we have the quantitative classification. So if the data are classified according to some characteristic which is capable of quantitative measurement like age, income, height, weight, price, production, sales, profits, etc., it is called as quantitative classification according to the variables. So the quantitative classification means you just classify it on the basis of age, income, height, weight, price, production, sales, profits, etc. So this kind of a classification is quantitative classification. Next, tabulation of data. So a systematic presentation of numerical data in columns and rows in accordance with some salient features or characteristics. So it is a systematic and numerical data in columns and rows. So you arrange the data in columns and rows and with some salient features or characteristics, some salient features. See, if you can see in this table, so we have the first column is the serial number, second we have the date, the account number, the memo, the debit, credit and the balance. So this is one kind of accounting ledger. So based on one criteria, you just have a table. So columns are vertical arrangement and rows are horizontal arrangement. So this vertical arrangements we call it as the columns and these horizontal arrangements we call it as the rows. So Croxton and Cowden state that either for one's own use or for the use of others, the data must be presented in a suitable form. So, whatever the data we are collecting, so whether if it is for our own use or for the use of somebody else, we have to present it in a table. So that will be more because it facilitates comparison and it also facilitates the analysis. So when you are tabulating the data, it will help in comparing the data and also it will help in studying the figures given in the data. So it will help us to draw more inferences from whatever is given in the data. Then next, let us look into the parts of the table. So, good statistical table is an art. The following parts must be present in all table. Now, what is the table here? So we have the parts of the table here. Now the first thing is the table number. So what is the number of the table? You can write it as 1001, 002, 003. So you can write it in the counting numbers or any number of your choice, whatever you want you can do. Then suppose I write here 001. Table number is 001. Then we have the title. So why you are having the table? So it may be a distribution of the male and female employees working in an organization. So you have collected data relating to the employees of an organization, and what are the various attributes on the basis of which you have collected the data. So all that will be there, and the main thing is you need to have a proper title for the table. Then next, so this is the title. Third one is the head note. So head note means you have to write a head note in the table. Then fourth one is the caption. So what is the column headings? For each column we have a heading. So you can write, suppose it is employees. So you can write it as employees. Then next, subheading. So whether they are a trade union member or non-union member. So you can write union member. Then non-union member. So we have the stubs. So caption we have written. Then we have the stubs here. So stubs means you have for each columns you have a heading here. So in the stub you write companies A. So we have one company A, one company B. So if you are having a study of the employees who belong to the union member, who are a union member, who are not union member, and then again in that, again you have a segregation. How many of them are males and how many of them are females? So we have company A, company B. Then we have the subheads. That is, the one is the union member, non-union member. Here again male and female. So male and female. Then we have the total. So in this way, the body of the table. So body of the table means it is this space which is called as the body of the table, where you just put in all the entries. Then we have the total columns. So we add all these. Column wise total will be written here, and row wise total will be written in this column. And then we have the footnote. So if you have to have any clarification in the table, that can be written in the footnote. And lastly, the source note. Source note means from where you got this table or from where you have collected the information. So that becomes important. So these are the important parts of the table. So a good statistical table is an art. So how do you express the information you have collected in the form of a table? So that depends on the creativeness of the collector or the statistician. So he should be able to give maximum information, whatever he has collected, in the form of a table, so that it will facilitate comparison, it will facilitate the analysis of the figures, and it will give a descriptive study of the whatever the study is. So you can collect lot of information when you go through the table. So this is relating to parts of the table. Next, the table number. Again, we have an explanation here. A table should always be numbered for identification and reference in the future. Each column should also be numbered as shown in the illustration. So for the table, we need to have a number, and also for each column also we need to have a number. Second one is title of the table. So we need to give a title. Each table should be given a suitable title. It must be written on top of the table. It must describe the contents of the table. The table should have a title. So what the data is, where the data is, time period of the data, and how the data are classified. So all this become the title of the table. Then next one is the head note. Head note, it is a statement given below the title and enclosed in brackets. For example, the unit of measurement is written as a head note, such as in millions or in crores. Now, what do we mean by a head note? Head note is usually just below the title head you have the head note, and it will be here you mention the units, whether you are writing the amount in lakhs, whether it is in crores or whether it is in thousands. So whatever it is, you mention the scale of measurement in this head note. Then the captions. So these are the heading for the vertical columns. They must be brief and self-explanatory. They have main heading and subheading and must be written in small letters. So if you can see the table here, so each of the columns will have a subheading. So it should be self-explanatory and it should have the main heading and subheading and must be written in small letters. Then next we have the stubs. These are the headings or designation for the horizontal rows. Stubs are wider than the columns. So stubs are wider than the columns. Then body of the table. So it contains the numerical information. It is the most important part of the table. The arrangement of the body is generally from left to right in rows and from top to bottom in columns. So the entire body of the table consists of all the part, that is the central part of the table, from left to right and from top to bottom we have various rows and columns. Then the footnote, if any explanation or elaboration regarding any item is necessary, footnote should be given. With this, we come to the end of this session. Hope you have all followed. Thank you.